going for at least 6 each side. It is when you're in a perpendicular position. When you press out, you're able to press out instead of press in. And so I usually don't record this part of my workouts. Well, I have in the past couple of times, but I usually do a little bit of backwards walking with every workout, uh, trying to get a lot of blood into the knees, so that when I do go into any leg movements, my knees are already pretty warmed up. And also, every step you take backwards, your knee is in the knee over toe position. So you get your body conditioned to being in that position, which reduces the likelihood that you get injured when doing any exercises that requires a deep knee bend. But anyway, today, so like I don't do this super often, but I do it fairly often, is where I do lateral walking. So my overall principle as far as like your joints or just the body in general is your body has a bunch of different capabilities, including lateral movement, lateral jumping, moving fast laterally. So an example of that would be like if you're playing defense in basketball or soccer or football or something, um, you do have to move laterally. And to move laterally, you have muscles in your glutes and your groin that need to work in unison in order to be able to move that way. Except for if you're training glutes or you're someone that wears a band around their knees or ankles and does the squat down lateral movement to activate the glutes, which more often like most men definitely don't do, then you probably have side glutes and groin muscles that are either not adequately developed or but almost definitely underused. So I like to so kind of going by the knees over toes guys concept of backwards walking, to like I guess condition the knees and cause the necessary adaptations in order to have well developed quad muscles and knee ligaments and tendons, in order to be able to I guess be comfortable in the knee over toe position. Uh, Similarly, in my opinion, it is good to do a lot of lateral walking or lateral movements, because what other exercise genuinely recruits uh, the side glutes or the groin in such a like constantly in such a way, and how often do you actually train it? So it is my opinion that uh, you know throw a bunch of these in so that you're not only working the reverse plane and the forward plane. So forward plane would be like forward sled or forward walking, and reverse plane would be reverse sled and backward walking. There is, I guess, a lot of gains and ability left on the table when it comes to side movement, and you should train it so that it's not just the front of your legs and the back of your legs that's developed, but the muscles on the side also get adequate amount of attention. So like so the whole idea behind knees over toes, from my understanding, uh, is that since everyone's so focused on developing like their squats and calves, people forget about the tibialis, and uh, like because of the popular lore or I guess training methodology that you shouldn't go knees over toes, the muscles and the tendons aren't used to being in a position where the knees are over the toes, which is usually in the depth of a squat. So someone who's been training that way for a large amount of years, the easiest possible way to introduce your body to that range of motion safely is to walk backwards. So, and as a result, the blood goes into the muscles and tendons that are responsible for being in that knee over toe position, and slowly develops it. So I'm going to guess that if someone doesn't train laterally enough, there's probably like muscles on your side and tendons on the side of the hip, on the back of the hip, like all that are responsible for performing this motion, that go underdeveloped if you don't use it frequently enough, and if there are other muscles in the chain that develop so much more compared to these side muscles, because I guess most of your volume is focused on squats, deadlifts, and in my case, I do a lot of reverse and forward sled. I start to think like whether my sides are adequately developed. So after that self-examination, I have started doing these side to side more often. But today I'm definitely doing a lot more of it than I usually do. And I was thinking that this is like, I guess, a new update as far as my workouts and my gym life is concerned. So, yeah. And if you don't have one of these treadmills, do it outside. You can easily do like lateral walking side to side from one end to the other, and then just do a bunch of reps of this, and then throw in some backward walking in the middle. Then also, if you're like a basketball player or an athlete or something, and you have one of these, you can actually turn the resistance way up. And imagine if you can move relatively fast side to side on this with high resistance. And it's also kind of like it's on an incline, so you're like constantly going uphill. Imagine how fast it could possibly make you moving laterally, which would probably make you a beast on defense. No one could get past you. Yeah. Anyway. So I'm going for about 4 minutes each side, and then I am increasing the resistance, and I'm going to keep doing that for a bit, and then I'm going to do some more backward walking, and then after that I'll get to the actual lifting of weights. And yeah, let's fast forward to that. So I spent about 1 hour on the treadmill, changing between different side walking and then doing backwards walking as well. For the first working set of, I guess, the weight training, I'm doing back and shoulders. For the shoulder movement, I'm doing towel grip shoulder presses, towel grip for forearm activation, and depending on how much slack you give your towel, there'll be more or less of an instability component. So I'm giving myself enough slack, but not too much slack to where it's super awkward. Starting and rolling the towel a little bit to, I guess, get a better forearm activation. And then going into some shoulder presses. So alternating shoulder presses, starting at the bottom, moving my head a little bit to the side, just to make sure that the kettlebell doesn't hit my head. And having to press it super slowly, otherwise the kettlebells will like swing around or flail around. Causing a much more, I guess, focused contraction of the shoulder, and having to do it slow really burns the crap out of the shoulders. Going for at least 6 each side. Got 7 on that one, I think, if I counted correctly. Moving into some lat pull downs on the cables, using this machine because of the individual weight stack, and I'm able to evenly distribute the weight between the arms. And then I'm also having the angle behind me and pulling it forward so that it opens up my chest area and builds the muscles in a way that it holds the chest open. My forearm started hurting big time on that, so like just holding onto the cable is pretty hardcore on the forearms too. So it was more so my forearms got exhausted more than the back, and while that might not always be optimal as far as what you want to achieve, so like sometimes you want your forearms to be less activated, I guess, like not as exhausted before you're doing the pull downs. But 3 more sets? 3 more? Yeah. So anyway, so what I was saying was, so like in this case, I am trying to work my forearms. I don't necessarily mind that my forearms are super activated on the pull downs. But yeah, if I was doing something more lat focused, I may not necessarily do a forearm movement before it, so that I can truly get the most out of my lats. But anyway, that's what I'm doing now, and let's see what happens next. So after the first superset, moving into some landmine chest presses. I think I started doing landmine chest presses probably, I don't know, somewhere between, in terms of YouTube, episode 40 to 50. I think somewhere around there. That's when I like first started doing them. But like I have an imbalance that forces the chest to rotate forward, or chest and shoulder to kind of rotate forward. And most chest presses start on the side and finish here. So the landmine, however, because of the angle at which it is when you're in a perpendicular position, when you press out, you're able to press out instead of press in. And so ever since I've discovered it, I've started to throw a lot more of these instead of like dumbbell presses or something like that, in the hopes that it helps correct that imbalance. But even if you don't have that imbalance, if you are someone who does a lot of chest presses that is like just going this way, then there's probably a likelihood that you are caving forward. So maybe the next time you do chest, try throwing in these. And also the contraction is quite different. Anyway, this is what it looks like. So having the landmine set up and using a slightly elevated surface so that my elbow can sink below parallel and isn't stopped by the floor, so that I can get full range of motion. And then taking a second to pause and press. Going for about 10 to 12 each side. Instead of dropping it, I prefer kind of to keep it up and then switch sides. It's at least I find it more of a pain to drop it than reset it up. I definitely have a stronger core than most people, so you might not be able to like get up with it like that. So it might not be ideal for most people to try, but if you are someone that's comfortable handling the landmine, definitely try it out. And I guess if you have someone to help out, it's good too. Definitely be kind of cognizant of keeping your shoulder tight, because the landmine can move forward and backward in a way that's kind of uneasy if your shoulders aren't strong enough. But yeah, the superset for this motion is towel grip sled rows, using the towel grip for additional forearm activation, and sled rows attacks the lats really good. Leaning back into it, and rowing. The towel grip definitely adds an element to it that makes the movement much harder than a regular sled row. Going one way with one arm and the other way with the other arm. It comes to about 8 to 10 each arm. But yeah, that's a superset I'm doing next. I don't know. Okay, so for the next circuit, which is probably going to be my last before I head into the sauna, I'm doing some heavy-ish legs, and it's going to be a giant set, a combination of the Landmine and the Sled. For the leg movement, I'm doing Landmine hack squats, featured in at least, I think, 3 videos so far, or maybe 2. But yeah, this is what it looks like. So, having the Landmine on one side and leaning back into it, and then squatting down. Going for 6. After 6, dropping it down and doing staggered perpendicular landmine deadlifts. Getting into a perpendicular position. I'm going for 6 of that. Now I'm going to repeat it all on the other side. At the bottom, I like to wait and feel the whole stretch before I press back up. After 6, going into the deadlift. After the landmine, moving into some sled, doing backward sled walk, or just backward sled, or backward sled drag, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. The belt at the gym is unavailable, so I've had to kinda, I guess, what's that word? Something rig? Jerry rig? Something rig. This contraption. I'm just gonna pull it. And forward sled drags. I intend to do this a lot faster, but all the handles were all intertwined and whatever. But anyway, this is my second set of this superset, or giant set. I'm gonna do maybe 1 or 2 more of this before I head to the sauna. So here I am post sauna. Did 20 minutes in the sauna, took a 15-pound kettlebell, and did some tibs and I guess, yeah, tibs and calf work. So I was doing like body weight calf raises, and I had the kettlebell hanging off the front of my feet and just did that for tibs, or just did that for tibs. Anyway, so yeah, today's workout, a lot of strength stuff, a lot of full body. Functional strength, I would say. But yeah, looking pretty shredded. The abs are popping out really nice. Let's check out the back. Oh yeah, love this. I love the way I look in this pose. What else can I do? Oh yeah, left oblique. Let's do a lat spread. How's that looking? What else can I do? Vacuum. Let's do like some side arms. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Alright, this is gonna be the thumbnail. Woo! That's kind of a most muscular, but it wouldn't, not like the traditional style, I don't think. But yeah, that's it for today's video. From here on out, I think I'm gonna do a couple of shorts a week, because I don't know, I've been getting a lot of comments that my videos are too long, and I don't want, like, I think a lot of my videos have some pretty cool stuff in it, and I don't want to, you know, have that being missed just because it's too long. So I might start putting out a few more shorts, and then maybe 2 or 3 a week, and then yeah, let's see how that goes. But yeah, that's all for today's video. See you all tomorrow.